UKVI is not just looking at proof of funds now. The school themselves, they are not asking for a higher deposit. The school was asking for £10,000 deposit. Another school was asking for 100% tuition fee to be paid before CAS will be issued. Are they indirectly saying that international students should not even bother applying to the UK at all? Come on, how many of their citizens can actually do that? The next point we're going to talk about is about the inability of students to switch over from a tier 4 visa to a tier 2 visa until they have finished their education. So what do you think about that? Do you think that's a good idea or not?
Actually, in regard to that policy, the reason why you came to the UK is you want to study. I believe that's the reason why. That is the primary aim. Your primary goal is to study. So if at all you are going to like work, it should be something like a side kind of thing. Maybe just to relieve yourself from stress, just to gain work experience. And I believe 20 hours, 20 hours as the minimum work permit in the tier 4 visa is enough to gain such experience. So why will you want to change it to tier 2 as a student? Why do you want to work more than 20 hours?
But what if you get a job and your employer does not want to wait? Like, they are not saying you should start now. They just want to know that you are committed to this job. So let us give you a certificate of sponsorship so that we know that you are committed to this job. And then you can switch over to a tier 2. Is that not a good thing? Like,
It's a good thing.
why did they bring the post-study work visa if they don't want students to actually
You know,
work?
the problem I think I have with these particular policies that sometimes these policies just find a way of exposing the government. And what do I mean by that? You've made a policy. Now, first thing you have to know is that no student can just change his visa from tier 4 to tier 2 if the organizations in the country are not willing to offer it. Now, if you are going to talk about changing of visas from tier 4 to tier 2, it's not the student's fault in any way. Now, I'm doing a master's in, maybe let's assume I'm doing a master's in maybe data science or something. And let's also say, okay, I have skills in programming. Being a student does not mean you should not have skills or you can't do anything. And I believe that sometimes even employers don't even know how to use these visas. Yes, I'm on a tier 4 visa and I have skills that is valuable to the industry, valuable to improving the economy or whatsoever. And an organization is willing to sponsor me to work. Yes, it doesn't. I think the only place there's going to be a problem is if you are abandoning your education to switch to a tier 2 visa. But if you are not, I don't think it has to really be a problem that you
That
are
is
getting
the problem.
Let me
That's
tell you why it's a problem. Why
yes.
do you really want to switch over to a tier 4 if you don't have the aim? This aim that I don't want to return back to my country.
Can I ask a question, Raymond?
Yes,
Can I ask you a question?
yes, you can.
If you have gotten an employment, right, that pays you 20,000 naira monthly, right, and that employment you've gotten like you have an offer of 20,000 naira, and you just maybe went to another city, right, and the same job you've gotten an offer that gives you 100,000 naira. Would you say that because you have thought about the 20,000 naira offer, or you had the plan to go and start the 20,000 naira offer, and you've seen a better offer, you now neglect the 100,000 to go and do the 20,000? What am I trying to say? Yes, you have plans of maybe going back to work in Nigeria, and you've now seen an opportunity that whereby a job has been proposed to you in a system that you believe that is better for you, is safer for you and your family. You working or you deciding to now work is not because of maybe you've had the intention that you never want to return home. No, it's because you've thought about it that if you are returning home, what are you returning to? If there's an opportunity for you to actually work, be useful here, and at the same time earn money, and do something better back at home, does it not make any sense? It makes more sense. So I don't think it has anything to do with having a mindset before coming. No, I know a lot of friends I had that after studying they left the UK, not because of anything, and not because they don't have skills, because they had what they wanted to do. So everybody has his own plans, and I don't think it's changing tier 4 to tier 2 is the fault of anybody. If they are going to blame anybody, they should talk to their organizations and not the student in any sense.
So basically, they feel it's a way to make the students concentrate on their education. And if they change the visa from tier two to from tier four to tier two, it makes the students concentrate on the studies they came for. So I think that's what the government is saying. That's what they think. But it's actually, for me, I think it's both ways. Some students get the job and they feel this is the job I've gotten and I have this opportunity. And because I have this opportunity, let me just quickly switch. So like Anthony said, they should speak to the organizations that does this to just stop doing that if they want it to stop. So the students feel it's an opportunity, but then I still feel students, if regardless, students should just find a way of they came for education, they came for a course, focus on what you came for, and make sure you paid for this. Not like it's free. They paid for this, so they should have a way of making it balance. And it's really difficult because I understand that when students get this tier two visa, they tend to forget. Most students tend to forget about the school
Yeah,
they
they
came for,
abandon the education.
and yes,
That's
and they concentrate more on the job. And I think that's where all of this is coming from. It's difficult for them to have balance both. So that's why this whole thing is happening. So they should speak to the organizations more, and not of the students, because students will always want to get this because it feels an opportunity. Let me just get this and forget about, or let me get this and change
You know, you
my
know why I
visa.
also think
Yeah.
that this tier two thing, a lot of people tend to want to switch early is because I think in the UK, as compared to maybe some other neighboring countries, it's not there's no like there's no really a clear path to some things, right? And why am I saying this? It's because now look at it as a student coming here maybe for a 2 year course, and your first year is supposed to be a major study, second year is supposed to be a year of internship and all that. A lot of employers don't even pick you for you to do internship. They don't pick you for you to do your internship and all that, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you've spent to come and study. So you feel like it's like your efforts are frustrated because I remember I've applied for a job somewhere or is it an internship somewhere, and obviously I was qualified. I've shared it with Egusa before, and they replied me because when they checked my CV, they said that yes, I'm qualified for an internship with the organization. But the next thing they sent to me is the reply was confirmed that you are a British or a NACO citizen. Now if you are in my shoes and you have that kind of response, how do you feel? You feel like, okay, so me not being a British or a NACO citizen means that my competency is not important. It means that it's not important. So if I now get another organization that wants to switch my visa from a tier 4 to a tier 2, do you think I'm going to think about it twice? No. So there are so many factors that even make people want to switch because they see it as an opportunity that might never show up again. Because when you've applied to about 100 organizations just for internship, this is not after school work, internship that is supposed to be for a couple of months. Some of them don't even give you feedback. So there are so many things attached to it. But I believe the students are actually supposed to focus on the studies. Yes, be on your tier 4. There's an opportunity to apply for a postgraduate um, work visa and all that. And I think it's also a good initiative. But I think on the other hand, having an organization ready to give you a tier 2 should not really be blamed on maybe the student or the dependent or whatever.
Okay, so the next topic we're going to talk about is about the proof of funds. So you guys know that before you actually come to the UK, before you get your visa, you have to provide immigration your proof of funds to show that you can actually fund your study and your lifestyle in the UK. So now the change is that the government will review the funds students must have to demonstrate they can look after themselves and their dependents in the UK. So the thing with this is that I've seen some messages recently now that UKVI is not just looking at proof of funds now. The school themselves, they are not asking for a higher deposit. The school was asking for £10,000 deposit before CAS will be issued. Another school was asking for 100% tuition fee to be paid before CAS will be issued. So the problem with this now is that Are they indirectly saying that international students should not even bother applying to the UK at all? Because how many students actually have £10,000 in their bank accounts to pay? And let's say this is like a program that you have to pay for 2 years. So you pay £10,000 first year, and then the second year you pay another £10,000. Like, come on, how many of their citizens can actually do that? I feel
I
like,
like the way I like the way you ended. I like the way you ended your questions. How many of their citizens can do that? Because that was where my own mind was even coming from. And the thing is, I just feel some of these things are very unnecessary. Honestly, now a school asking you to pay 100% tuition fee and all this, I think they are just doing a lot of things that is making their education here unattractive anymore to people. Because I was sharing it with my friends, and I was saying in the classroom of where I'm coming to do masters, paying over £15,000 and all that. And the education, yes, it's quality education, but at the same time, you don't feel like you're even paying to now. For example, I'm studying engineering, and I expect that will come in here, I'm going to be exposed more to the practical life or practical knowledge of it. And you happen to sit in a classroom where you get to hear some theories you've been hearing over and over again, and nothing really practical in any sense. Now, if I'm going to advise maybe someone coming to do the same course, you're now telling the person to pay the complete tuition fee before coming in. What do you think I'm going to tell the person? I'll just tell him, take your money somewhere else. I think all these policies are to actually stiffen a certain type of immigrant, if you get what I mean. The UK is not actually trying to maybe ban all immigrants, but I think they're trying to actually select the type of immigrants they want, saying that okay, we don't want this type of people, we want this type of people. You get what I'm saying? If you are to check the graphs or index of immigrants, like students, immigrants into this country, after maybe the Indians, we have the Chinese. Maybe before we talk about maybe Nigerians and all that. But you if from the policies and things that are coming out, even from the interviews and things we've seen, it's like they're actually saying that okay, is this type of immigrants we don't want? We want this type of immigrants. So you saying that people should pay 100% tuition fee. If the person cannot afford it, the person will not come. And definitely, I'm sure a lot of people will find cheaper and also quality education somewhere else that you
yeah,
don't have to pay 100%. You get
exactly.
so the proof of fund or the maintenance thing. There are a lot of people that can afford it. Yes, whether you're from Africa, you're from Asia, a lot of people can afford it. But at the same time, I don't think that should be the bone of contention. Changing the maintenance fee or whatever does not mean that a certain type of people will still not enter into this economy. Maybe they have a mindset that maybe those in Africa or those from Nigeria, Ghana, they are poor or something that they cannot really afford. But there are a lot of people that can afford it. And if they can afford it, they'll still come in with their families. So if the maintenance fee is the same or is changed, I don't think it really does anything much.
To me, I would say they are trying in their myopic mind to, like Anthony has said, to select a specific number of students or type of students to be precise. However, we should also remember that the reason why they request for the proof of funds is so as to show that you can afford
Your
the
life here.
school fees. Now, we all know what is happening. I wouldn't want to say, but I'm very sure they are also aware that things are going on in the background that
Mm-hmm.
makes the system flawed. So the school, in their own myopic mind, are trying, to look for ways to curb those loopholes that some unfortunate individuals have, exploited.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's the reason why they brought about the idea that okay, if at least you say you have about so million naira in your account to prove that you can pay for this school fees. All right, why don't you just pay for that school fees in full before you even come, rather than just showing to us via a bank account?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Only to come here and change the whole narrative and change the whole story. So, like I said, it's in their own myopic mind because it doesn't still answer the question, which is what is the right way they can go about this whole thing, with the students. But at the same time, I'm looking at it from their own perspective, which is they are trying, to know those who are actually coming to study, rather, or even if you're not coming to study, even if you're coming to study and work to support yourself, at least it should be someone who can afford up to about 80, 90, 70% of the tuition fee, not someone who even the deposit that has he or she has paid for the school was borrowed.
Mm.
Do you understand? So I guess that is the reason why they brought in that idea, of a higher deposit, or the whole complete school fees, because I know there are some other countries that would request for 70, 80% plus. You
Yeah.
understand? And they have their reasons why they always ask for it. You think
Mm-hmm.
about it, you're coming to study. The most important thing is the study here, not work.
Not the work,
You
yeah.
understand? So the work should be a support system that is not even compulsory for you to go for. You understand? If at all you are able to sponsor yourself as you portray yourself to be able to
Yeah.
in the first instance.
I feel increasing the I think most of already it's not like they want to. I think most of the schools have already started doing that because some schools have their own complaints already, and well, the complaint is justified because they feel some students come in, they show a large amount of fees before they come in, and while after coming in they don't get to pay the money. Some schools have done some study on that and kind of like a survey on that. They see that most students that said, "Oh, I have a large sum of money in my account," they come and then they don't get to pay the full amount of money, or they don't even get to pay the instrumental package they have opted for. So all of these they do is the reasons they want to bring in new policies, they want to increase do it so that they want to make sure. But even if even if they feel they want to do all of these, students will still show an amount of money, and some of them will still come and still. So it's still the whole. There is just like you're beating round. It's the same thing that is still going to happen at the end. So I feel it's still boiled down to the students. Students need to be serious. Like you're coming for study, you need to make your plans on how you are going to make the payments going forward. You need to you need to have your own plan when coming in, because even if they review it, they increase or they decrease the proof of funds, people that will still have their way will have their way. So it's just brought down to the students that they should have their own plans before coming and make plans on how they'll make all of the payments. That is what I
I
have to
think I
say.
think that policy of the maintenance fee also should be left to the discretion of the school. Something happened in my school. I'm trying not to mention the name of the school, and I am like there's a student who was defaulting in payments, but at the same time was not passing his courses. I think he was failing his courses, and the school ended. The this canceled his visa and his education and all that. Yes, in that kind of sense, I cannot fault the school, right? Because you're not paying for the resources you're using, and at the same time, you're not also doing well in school and all that. So I think when it comes to the part of the school, when it comes to part of the maintenance fee for your education, like not the one you use to sustain yourself in the country. I mean, for the education, your school fees and those things, the government should try not to influence the school's decision. They should leave that to the school to decide. But yes, if you want to talk about okay, maintenance fee for sustaining yourself in the UK, that one you can say that okay, yes, but you increasing the maintenance fee for me to live in the UK does not change the fact that if I'm going to use maybe £2,000 to sustain myself, assuming maybe for a year, it doesn't change the fact that if I show you a maintenance fee of £10,000, that I will not still spend way lesser than £10,000. So you increasing the maintenance fee and all that does not mean that there are people that who cannot still afford it. I still think it will be like going in circles, because obviously years before now the maintenance fee was not this high. Neither was the NHS or anything. Years before, like years back, a lot of years ago. But now that okay, everything seems like they are on the rise, inflation, everything, but you still have a lot of people trooping in.
Truth.
So increasing the maintenance fee, I don't think it will change anything or change much when it comes to like migration into the UK. So whether you increase it or not, people that can afford it will still come in anyway. So I don't really have much to say on that.
Emon, what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah,
If the school is saying that you should pay 100% of your tuition before they will give you CAS.
no, they
And
can.
That's a lot.
the thing is that they've already told the students to pay £2,000 deposit, and then they
Mhm.
sent another letter to say, sorry, we are going to be increasing it. Now you have to pay £10,000 deposit before we can give you your CAS.
When we talk about education being a franchise now, it's just this is what we are talking
Very
about.
obvious. Yeah,
This, this is what we are talking about.
very
Because you know
obvious.
that if
And
you pay
then,
me this thing, then you're now
yeah,
making it seem like a, like, should I call it like a business, turning it into a
A
business
business, of course,
something.
yes,
of
no.
course.
And then you deceive the person by first paying £2,000, and then you tell the person to pay the
They,
remaining
many,
when it's supposed to be instrumental. Then the students will look elsewhere. It's not only
The
the
truth is that
UK. There are other places.
the truth is that
Yeah,
the truth is that I don't think a British citizen or a British student will go somewhere maybe in the US or abroad and pay what we immigrants pay here. In the sense that now even here, education is subsidized for the citizen, which is a good thing. Obviously, you want your government to do something good for you. Now, an average when I check our school portal, my own school portal, an average British citizen is entitled to about 11,000 in grants. But the truth is that your education, if you are doing a master's, for example, maybe a 2 years master's, your education for those 2 years is not up to that. Now, and this is a case whereby maybe a foreigner is paying about 8,500 or almost 10,000 a year. Now, if your own citizens cannot even pay that money,
Exactly.
why do you want somebody else to prove to you that you can pay that money to get the education? Just know you just say you don't want the person to come anyway.
that's it.
Just
That's
make
just
it clear that we don't want you people. See, there are some countries that they do this thing and they are not ashamed of it. There are some countries in Europe that they let you know that we don't want you, we don't want you, and that's all. They don't try to do like, oh, we want your money, but we don't want you. Because that's what they are clearly doing here.
that is what they are doing. That's right. They want
So
the money, but not
this
the money.
maintenance fee or no maintenance fee thing is like we have said from the beginning. All these things they've highlighted in the policies, they're not. It's not the major issue. No, they're not hitting the nail on the head. I think they need to actually face the main issue and stop trying to beat around the bush and so it's maintenance fee that is the problem. Is this one that is the problem? No, those things are not the problem. They're not the problem themselves. They're just trying to find, I won't call it a scapegoat, but they're trying to find a loophole.
Scapegoat. That reminds me. You guys have seen the guy that went to BBC
You
to
see
talk
that guy?
about our
I have a million and one things to say about that guy. Honestly.
a lot of people are blaming him that this whole thing is because of him. What do you guys think?
No, no, no,
It's not
no.
because of him.
Uh, it isn't.
Like, I even want to ask a question.
even but it was used as a bait.
The
He
truth is
wouldn't
that
have. Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think that guy affected them making their policy in any way. In the sense that I know the thing is they just needed an emotional backup. And why am I saying that? I don't think of all the people in the UK is the only person they contacted. Obviously, they would have sent you a mail that would like to do this, and you accept because he posted it himself. Now, and obviously, they did not even go for someone that has been in the UK for long. This guy has barely spent how many years in the UK, and he came as a dependent.
So he
So they went for
didn't
someone that is actually gullible.
experience at
So
all.
the point is that what I think, or from the part of the guy, I think he was just being an idiot. Permit me to use that word. He was being an idiot because there are people that have been here as immigrants for more than 5, 10 years. The BBC did not approach them. Yes, you have a YouTube channel, but we know how many hundreds of YouTube channels are on YouTube. People talking about immigration to the UK and all that. Now, yes, he was looking for fame, which I think is cheap and negative fame he has gotten now. But you coming out to say things you don't know, speaking for a nation of 200 million people, is a very wrong thing to do.
yeah.
You have barely spent how many years in the UK, and you are coming out to say that
You're talking about money.
Less than a year, 10 months.
exactly, and you are
Or
coming out to say that most
9
of the
months.
people that are coming to the UK are not coming for the education per se. But that's a very wrong idea, because you can't talk for even 5 people, not to talk about 200 million people in a whole country. So you're saying that okay, let's assume 10 million people have come to the UK. You're saying that about 9 million are not coming for the education. You are assuming and you are generalizing because you don't know why anybody is coming here. And to even think about the fact that you didn't come as a student, you came as a dependent. he has no right or any place to even talk on that matter. And you could have easily declined. Or if you had turned that interview to a debate with the BBC person, making them see how that we pay for everything we do in this country, that video would never have been posted.
Yes.
So for you to have agreed to the interview, you now began to spit a lot of nonsense. That's why the video. So they needed that emotional backup that, oh, this is their citizen. And that's why I made the point that they need a certain type of immigrants. Because obviously, why should it be a Nigerian that you're interviewing? They're Indians, they're Chinese. Why didn't you interview any of them?
Okay.
Very true.
And even if you had interviewed them, look at, see, there are some things that we just have to be, we have to censor it. We cannot really say it. And the truth is, it's not, things are not supposed to be like that. And I blame the guy. Truly, I really blame him. He just made himself a tool. He made himself a tool that was used, and it doesn't make any sense. It's just he has not cost anything, because with or without him, they will make their policy. But he has just given them an emotional backup that this is their citizen and thinks the same thing with him. Because for the person that interviewed you to be able to know the term jackpa, that means you said a lot of things.
Yeah.
You said a lot of things that you shouldn't have even said. So that's just it.
Oh, wow. So guys, we've said a lot in this video. I'm just going to ask a quick question and then we'll call it a day. So these new changes are going to take effect from January 2024. What do you advise people that are still thinking they want to come to UK as students? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think they should just carry their money and go somewhere else? What do you think? Like, is the UK still that attractive?
In answering this question, you have to be very careful. If you say no, don't go, find another country. It means what you have been saying all this while and what they have been saying rather is true.
Mm.
So if it's not true, then you would advise them not to come over. Still come, because your main reason is not to stay. You just acquire the certification and then you go back home. So you can still come. But if you tell them go to another place, it means that you have another motive.
What I'm going to tell them, okay.
Yeah. For me, I feel it's individual's discretion.
Exactly.
The UK degree is very good. It's reputable. They have reputable universities that gives you good degree that you can use anywhere in the world. But then it's individual's discretion. If you know you can come with, or you can travel and study with or without your family support, then it's fine. You can travel to the UK and study, and when you're done, if you want to return, fine. But if the individual knows he or she can't cope with family's presence, then there's no point. You just have to move to somewhere else, because what matters with bringing independence is about the support that you can get from them, or about their presence, them coming in, and also exposure. So if the person knows that, so everything is individual discretion, like I've said before. So that's it.
Just to say a few things. If anybody is planning to come to the UK to study, to work, and anything, I think if it depends on you, like Egusa just said. If you've made that decision, you back your decision up with actions, you are free to come and study. The education is, yes, world class education and all that. But at the same time, if you feel that what you are looking for in the UK is way beyond studying, you can also consider other places, like she said. So it's relative to individual and what everybody wants. Not everybody that comes to the UK wants to just study and leave. Not everybody wants to also study and remain. So it depends on the person. So if you want to come to the UK, it's left to you to decide, honestly.
The thing is that if you tell people to come, they will say, so you want us to come and pay that money and we'll not have anything to add.
The only thing I think that is ghetto in the UK is just
already. You don't want us to come and
this
thing there. But the truth about Nigerians, we make a lot of noise, but when we want to achieve we will achieve it.
Exactly.
So even when they say that they have stopped dependence, we will still find another door. We will find another door. we achieve what we want. And
But
if
even those that have, tier two can still come with their dependents. So all of these, they are only restricting one part, and
Exactly.
then
No,
the
I
other
think
parts
they're
are
even
still
trying
open.
to choke a part, because from what they are doing now, they are making it clear that you just see that a lot of people have started applying for PhD programs. Or
Mm.
a
Very
lot of
true.
people will be trying to get tier two.
seriously,
Exactly.
A lot of people will be trying to get a tier two at no cost. The thing is that when you try to close one part, when you
Another
the thing is
one
that it will not
will be
work.
porous.
It will not work because
Yeah.
if that's not the major source of the problem. You closing that part will just expose other parts.
Mm.
Exactly.
So if
Mm.
you have a pipe that is leaking and you've not closed the major leak, and you're trying to close the tiny dots, you can't. There's no way you stop the leakage. So the
Mm-hmm.
thing is that if you don't face the main problem head on and keep saying, "Oh, tier two or tier four is the problem, dependence is the problem, maintenance phase is the problem," you will really see that you have a mess when you don't face the real problem. Because I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that you are generating 43 billion pounds from international students yearly, and you still feel that they are the problem to your amenities and your whatever. No, no, nobody can say that.
Very true.
okay, so guys, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this discussion. I would like to hear from you guys. So leave your comments below.
You
Thank you, Egosa. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, Anthony. And thank you, Anonymous.